Hi everybody, this video is going to help all the students that are either going to be learning or already learning Chil Sung Hyung, first Chil Sung Form. So in this video there's going to be segments of me talking, explaining about what the section of the pattern is, and then also there'll be a demonstration of me physically demonstrating that pattern as well. If you have any questions, obviously speak to your instructor. And they'll be able to give you advice on how you're doing it. Obviously use this as a guide as to help you and then demonstrate to your instructor from that point. So in this section now we're going to talk a little bit about that first part that we've just done. I'm going to start with the first move in particular, and that's obviously when we're stepping out nice and wide. So first thing to notice is obviously my stance. Both my knees are bent, sakurik jase, side stance. I take a deep breath in at this point, my arms come nice and wide. The way I try and remember this is this forearm is lower than the other one, so when it almost parallels to my thigh, this arm parallel with the floor. And then from here, you're rotating your body, pushing this hip forward. Notice how I keep my elbow and my hip moving together. So it moves at the same time, and I finish in the stance at the same point. So I breathe in at this point here, push my hip forward, and rotate down this way. So I then face in front stance to the side. So let's watch that one more time. So I step out, I take a deep breath in, I push the air down, and from this point now, my hip and elbow connection stays together, and everything finishes in time. So my breathing should finish at the same time as my stance, and at the same time as my arms. And then one last little bit of detail about that first move is that this arm is quite relaxed. So this one's coming in quite relaxed. This one's quite strong, almost like you're bringing good energy with this arm, pushing away bad energy with this one. So that's that first move. The next part of that sequence is when we cross the arms over. So we've done that first move, we cross the arms. Make sure you get your elbows to come as close as possible. Don't wrap your arms around your body, don't have them here. If you can physically do it, try and get your elbows to meet. The arm that's going to go the furthest should be on top. So from here, my arm goes out, and it has to travel that little bit faster to finish at the same time as my other arm. My other arm has to go from here to here. This top arm all the way across. But it's a slow movement, it's not fast. So you inhale, exhale. Then from here, notice again I'm in a horse stance now. So I'm from that front stance into the horse stance. Now I'm going to step forward and punch. Chamber the arm, look in the direction you're punching, and step into it. Again, this bit here, hold the hip back, punch on the end. So from that position there, 1, 2, 3, out, hand back chambered, hold the hip back, snap it forward. Okay. Now in this section, or this little bit of the pattern, obviously we're going in the opposite direction to what we just did. So when we turn from the punch, we're going to come round onto the heel of the foot, not the ball of the foot like a normal back stance, the heel of the foot. Most of the weight's still on that back leg, front leg, heel on the floor, toes pointing up as high as you can. Now the block you're doing as well is a little bit different from the normal knife hand blocks you do. For this particular block, your palm is going to be facing upwards towards the ceiling, not down as you would normally do in a low knife hand block. So from that punch, it comes all the way around, hands from the shoulder still, round onto the heel, and then bring it round so it finishes blocking palm up. Now the next move is the same as before, the arms cross over. Again, try and get the elbows to meet. This time the opposite arm is on top to what you had before, but still the same pace. So it comes out, and from there we step forward and punch. Okay, so remember that part of it. Round 1, elbow connection, inhale, exhale, Hands should finish about fingertips, I would say no further past than the side of your body. Okay, so you're only going past here. Stop at the side of your body, fingertips there, and finish at the same point. Step forward, punch, and the same as before, hold the hip back, snap the hip forward, and finish with that punch on the end. So as you saw down the centre of the pattern, then down the middle, we've got that first move again that we did at the start. It's the same technique, exactly the same. So from that punch, we step out, Sakurik Jase, side stance, inhale, drop the air down, and again pushing the hip forward, finishing everything in time. Front arm relaxed, back arm tense. Now the next few moves are quite simple really. The first one is a middle block in back stance. So you want this elbow connection, arms to cross, and from here, middle block. So first move, exhale, elbow connection, back stance, and then pull the hip back. As you pull the hip back, block. Next one is a knife hand middle block. Again, very easy. Hands come to the same hip. So down to that front hip. Try and get this finger and thumb touching. There's a bit of detail. Finger and thumb touching from the hip. As we step forward, back stance, hip in front, hip back. Again, this block, hand open, thumb tucked in, fingers together, other hand covering the solar plexus in the middle. From there, hands to the hip, step forward, and block. The last move, again, relatively easy, is a side punch. So from that position, again, hold the hip back, push it forward, use this arm to kind of aim where you're going. So from that block, almost kind of point the arm forward, and then finish. Rotate our bodies, hold stance, Kima Jase, both knees bent, back straight, arm is out, other one chambered at the side. So from that middle block, point, hold the hip back, snap it forward. That's the first half done. So let's look at the second half now. Okay, so in this second half now, as you've just seen, we're going to do a turn from this position after the punch. So I'm going to demonstrate it this way in the pattern first, and I'll show you facing the camera. So I'm going to turn, I'm going to do a Sakurik Jase, hands will come out to grab the fingertips. My right hand grabs my left. I scoop up, sink back, and I'll demonstrate this from the front so you can see in a second. Hands come up. Air down, foot flat, push forward, breathe out. Then I cross my elbows, and it's a small kind of motion back, and then forward. Hands going to go down to strike the groin. I push my right hip forward. I bring it back. As I bring it back, this arm will fast block from here, all the way past your face, block behind. Notice how my hands are open. Then last move, going to step forward and punch. So let's see that from this side so you can see what my arms are doing. So we've done the last move, it's the side punch. So then we turn and we grab our fingertips. So I'm in Sakurik Jase, my hand comes round. Sakurik Jase, scoop up, palms up, toes in the air, back knee bent, inhale, drop the air down. So you're pushing all the air down and the hands go flat. As your hands go flat, my foot goes flat. Inhale, down, and then push forward, exhale. And like with the first moves we did at the start, those bits want to finish at the same time. So breathe in, hands, stance, all finishing in time together. Now, from here, we then cross the arms. Notice how my hand is on top, stays on top. So I cross them over, I inhale, I'm going to sink back a little bit, rock back, and then I sink forwards. So rock back a bit, sink forwards. Now, the hand's going to strike down. So the hand, I suppose in the video, is your opposite arm, whichever leg is forward. You're going to strike down towards the groin. Notice how I'm pushing my hip forward. Pull the hip back. As I pull the hip back, I'm going to block with both arms. A high section block behind me and a low section block in front of me. Back stance as normal. Okay, and then the last move from that position, point where I'm going to punch, hold my hip back, and punch. So that's that little sequence. Now remember, that's both directions, exactly the same moves in both directions, it's just mirrored. So once you're on one side of the body, exactly the same the other side, just use different arms and legs. If that's a little bit confusing, then again, get some one-to-one with your instructors. They can run you through that detail a bit more of a longer time frame to do it with you. Okay, so as we've just seen now, we're going down the centre again, back to where we first started and back to where we first came from. So let me go through it away from the camera first, and I'll do it towards the camera so you can see my arms and positions, my stances, and the detail about it. So from the punch, we turn, we do a low block, elbow connection, knife hand middle block. Then we do a punch, front stance, and then the same arm, elbow connection, high block. Then we do another punch. Now on this next move, there's no elbow connection. So the arm comes across the body and up. I point forward, so I'm going to point where I'm going to punch, and then I step forward and punch again. The last little bit before this end is I sink back. So I drop my body weight back, lift my front foot onto the heel of my foot. I inhale as my hands come to my kidneys, I put my foot flat, my palms come up, and I breathe out and finish in a pushing motion in front stance. So let me show you again from this side. So the first move I do, and this might be on the opposite arm leg to what you're going to be doing, but just try and remember the detail. So we're going to step, so low block, elbow connection, middle block. Then again we hold the hip back, and then we push it into the front stance punch, elbow connection again, blocking arm underneath, and pull the hip back. As I pull that hip back, block above my head. Then again, I'm going to step forward to punch. On this next move, there's no elbow connection. You're just going to come across the body and up. Then I point forward, and again, holding my hip back, and I'm going to push it forwards with the punch. Now the final bit we did was also we sink back. So from here, I'm going to rock back onto my heel. My hands just drop down nice and relaxed. From here, hands come up to the kidneys. I'm breathing in as I do so. Then my foot goes flat. I push the air down, my palms come up, and I push all the air out and finish at the same point. Again, like the first move we did at the very start, you want your stance, your hands, your breathing, all to finish at the same stage. So from here, I inhale, I drop the air, and I exhale. Now, in a minute, you'll see the next last few moves of this pattern. So, and we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so as you've just seen in that last section of the pattern now, we've stepped into a double block position. So I'm going to do it facing away from you first. So I've done my last moves, I've inhaled, I've exhaled. Now I'm going to turn. As I turn, double block, both hands blocking. Knuckles about eyes height, other hand reinforcing the elbow. I'm then going to sink back. As I sink back, it's the same as before. My hands come down. My palms are to the floor, my toes are pointing up, my hands come round to the kidneys, I breathe in, I push the air down, my foot goes flat, my palms come up, and then I breathe out all and finish at the same point. So watch that again, so I turn, double block, I sink back, I breathe in, foot flat, palms up, air down, and exhale. And when you're pushing out, you want to try and use your diaphragm to push all that air out, so not from here. You don't want to bring out from the tops of your chest and your lungs, also from the diaphragm, you're pushing all of the air out as you do it. And the same moves then, going the other way. Exactly the same techniques. Double block first, sink back, inhale, air down, palms up, foot flat, breathe out. And that is the end of Chil Sung Hyung, the first Chil Sung Form. Don't forget, if you want any help with this, speak to your instructor, but also use this video as a guide to help you practice it, learn it, retain it, and then we can see it once we're back in the class.